Well. Here we go again.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays, happy New Year, Kwanzaa, birthday, Hanukkah, Christmas, everything.
Everything. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to a new year,
Yes,
2025
sir.
now.
That's it. Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. And who am I with?
It's your man Mazo. It's all about Big Blue.
Yes,
Will
it
always
is.
be
Yes, it
about Big
is.
Blue, y'all. Always. Even in the
Big
new
Blue
year.
2025.
And you know what? Clay, look, I got a smile on my face today. And a lot of Giant fans don't, but you know what? We had a victory. We had
A what? I'm sorry, what?
A victory. We won. Our score was higher than their score. I just couldn't believe it.
Is that a thing?
I couldn't believe it.
I thought that was against the law.
I guess we broke the law this time.
We must have broke the law.
You
It
know,
feels good. It feels good. Listen, like you said, there's a lot of mixed feelings going on out there. If you look at social media, there's a lot of people who are not happy about it, but
not in the
I
least.
like the W.
It's like we keep saying every week. I can't go into a game rooting for the Giants to lose.
Right.
I actually like what I saw, the way they were playing. I mean, they showed something there, and it's funny, it was a sense of urgency. They were saying we weren't going to be that team to lose all our home games. We're not going to be that team. And we played at home. They were wearing the blue. They came through.
And we scored 45 points.
Right. I know.
What is that? What is that?
And they look good doing it.
That's like a month worth of games before this game.
And
they look good doing it. They look good doing it.
Let me tell you something. I had this thought when I saw the game, then I saw the replay. I had this feeling we're going to win this game because Drew Lock was actually playing for his spot for possibly being a starter next year.
At the very least, on someone's roster somewhere. Right. Because the way he looked the week before that, he might have been out the league.
Yeah, exactly.
So he needed to show somebody, one of the teams, he only needs one, that yes, I deserve to be on a roster.
He looked good.
And part of that's because he had time to throw. For whatever reason, he had time to throw.
Boggled my mind. I saw him about on 3 separate plays, dropped back and stepped up into something that looked like a pocket. I could not believe it. I didn't know what I was watching. I had to stop it.
No, it was crazy. It was one play I saw. It almost looked like Lamar Jackson. You know how Lamar Jackson, sometimes he starts bouncing and then he just comes to a stop?
Yeah.
He's just like standing there and there's nobody around him. He's like, will somebody get open, please? I saw a play where Drew Lock had one of those where he just was on his toes and then he just came to a stop. It was like, well, I've still got time. I don't have to step up, left, right. I can just stand here.
Right.
And I hadn't seen one of those since Eli.
Really? Yeah, really.
And I'm talking about Eli, in the Super Bowl run.
The Super Bowl Eli.
The last few years of Eli, he didn't have any time either.
No. Man, it really was it was a great game. I was happy. I couldn't think about the draft and all that stuff. I mean,
no, not during the game. During the game. No. During the game, I'm thinking, and we had 2 interceptions.
Right.
What is that?
Defense
we had 2. I think we had 2 for the season before Sunday, and then got 2 more on Sunday. So we doubled our output in one game.
And there were long passes. They weren't like little screens. There were long passes in this game. I was like, what am I watching? I mean,
Daniel Bellinger caught a couple of passes.
It looked good. It looked like Dable didn't know what to do. He's like, what do we do? We scored more than 14 points. What do we do now? What do we do?
And Malik Neighbors came to ball. He was like, you know what? I'm here. Let me just remind you of what you were saying at the beginning of the season. Because I've been hearing lately people talking about, well, maybe he should shut him down. He's hurt or whatever. Or maybe he wasn't as good as we thought he was. He said, no, just remember me. I'm still that guy.
I forgot he was as fast as I seen him. I was like, that slant he caught wasn't not slant. It was wasn't like the
second touchdown?
Yeah.
He split 2 defenders after he caught the little out route, and then he just exploded.
And just took off. I was like, they're going to catch him. I was like, not today.
Nope.
Man, that's what we were looking for all season. But,
if you hit the man in stride or if there's enough protection where he can actually get some separation and then you hit him while he's got some separation, he can do those kind of things.
Yeah, I
But
think
normally he's reaching back or
right,
diving or falling, or
right,
guys step away from him because he's only 4 yards downfield, whatever.
They look good. I mean,
Anyway,
they look
very impressive win offensively. I mean, we still gave up over 30 points. That's
right.
not so exciting, but we stepped up when we had to. Like I said, we got 2 interceptions. When we needed to come through, we did. It looked for a minute when the Colts were a 2-point conversion away from tying the game up. It looked like we were going to blow this game.
Got to give it back, yeah.
And if Jonathan Taylor had held on to that, they did that little hook and ladder play.
Yeah.
If he had held on to that and tied it up, that might have really, changed the momentum even more.
That's true. That's true.
But he dropped it and we kept the lead. And I really feel like that took a little air out their balloon and gave us that energized moment. Like, yeah, we still got the lead. We still got the lead.
The guys were close. Guys were close. We got to keep it. We got to do it. We got to do it. At that point, I was like, come on, win the game already. It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Not gonna be mad at you. Not gonna be mad at you.
No. I love winning football games.
Right.
Now that the game is over and I've had a day or two, well, several days now, but at the time, a day or two to celebrate and reflect on the positive energy, then you start looking at like the draft order and you see we fell from 1 to 4.
We're at 4 now, right?
And now there's all this talk about the Eagles resting players next week. So we might mess around and win that game too. And we could fall out to like 9, almost certainly 7, maybe 8 or 9 if we beat Philly. But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Again, beating Philly is always good.
Yeah, this talk now, I heard this one today that the Giants are thinking if they won, and this came from Adam Schefter.
Okay.
He said that the Giants may be looking to try to make a trade for J.J. McCarthy from the Vikings.
That's one of the rumors I've been hearing too, right?
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Minnesota's talking about keeping Sam Darnold.
Right.
And I don't understand that because I'm like, we could have just drafted J.J. McCarthy last year.
Right.
Why would we trade for an injured J.J. McCarthy who hasn't seen a second of football yet this year? Like, did he get better last year since he sat out all year with an injury? We didn't want him last year when all we had to do was write his name on a card.
Right.
Now we got to trade for him.
Right.
And he's done nothing. I don't get that at all.
I'm not giving a first for him.
I don't get that. I wouldn't trade for him at all. I mean, if we didn't want him for free,
right,
why would I pay for him now? Coming off of an injury, he was out for the season.
No, because he didn't show anybody.
If you talk about Michael Penix, that's a different story.
Big time, different story. Big time.
But of course, he's not available.
Right.
But you know who might be available? I think I mentioned this last week. Jimmy G. Jimmy G's going to start this week for the Rams because they're resting Matthew Stafford this week. So Jimmy G's going to start. I really wish he wouldn't. I was hoping that he just would have stayed under the radar. Maybe nobody's even thinking about Jimmy G. But now if he comes in here and plays well, now there might be a lot of teams saying, "Oh yeah, Jimmy G, I forgot about him."
It'd be a good bridge quarterback. A good bridge quarterback.
I'm not saying we shouldn't draft a quarterback. I'm saying draft a quarterback, but if you sign Jimmy G, then that rookie doesn't have to play week 1. Maybe he comes in after the bye week and had a few weeks to kind of learn his craft under a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, are the Giants? Will the Giants be going to England anything this next year? Because they have more than enough time. You get that extra week. You got more than enough time to make the switch.
Right. The post-European fiasco switch. Right. No, but I think Jimmy G would be a decent bridge quarterback at a reasonable price. So I'm hoping that we are at least considering that. Again, there may be a lot of teams considering it, depending on how he does this Sunday, but I'm hoping we're one of them. But anyway, we got a W.
We got a W, baby.
We have another game this week coming up against, some of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not all of them, but some of the Philadelphia Eagles. Apparently, a lot of them are taking this game off.
I hear that they're sitting Saquon.
They're sitting Saquon. Jalen Hurts is still in the concussion protocol, so they're not even going to take any chances with him. They're going to just let him stay out. But they're also talking about like Jalen Carter and some of the offensive linemen. Like they're talking about really resting a lot of people for the playoffs, which I get. Right? I can't say that I blame them for that, but I don't think that's why they're doing it. I think they're doing it so that we win this game
They're trying to
for
stick
the
it to
first
us.
round draft position.
Yeah,
That sounds exactly like what the Eagles would do to us,
yeah. They're trying to
just
stick
so
it
that
to us.
we wind up with like the eighth pick instead of the third or fourth pick.
I believe it. I believe it. I really do believe it. It's like, and it's funny. Saquon's so close,
He's 100 yards away,
right?
and getting 100 yards against us should be no problem. He can get that by halftime, probably.
This is what I was thinking. He gonna play the halftime. He'll probably get like because he gets one of these long runs. So he gets
He
like a
only needs
40
one of
yard
those to
run,
be over
40, 50
100
yard
and a
run.
half. Right. He gets a 40 or 50-yard run, and then a couple of other, 6 or 8 yard runs. He'll have, 10 carries, 110 yards by halftime, and then he can sit down with the record.
It's all
And
right.
honestly, I can't say that it would shock me if that's exactly what happens, even though they've been saying he's not going to play. If they wake up Sunday morning and say, you know what, let's get the man a record. They just put him out there for the first half while the Giants are thinking he's not playing. And he just runs right through us while we got our drawers, our jaw dropped down to the floor. What? He's playing? I can definitely see them doing to us.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. So we play these. I know we're playing. I guess the Eagles almost like a scab team. The second and third.
It's like the practice squad.
Right. We're playing them. That's all right. Neighbors gonna go off on them too. I can see it now. Even Slayton was playing well. Oh my God. Everybody.
Everybody got out there. Just we got a kickoff return for a touchdown. What is that?
It's almost like they was giving it to us. I just like what was the
Right.
fix
It did. It almost felt like the Colts didn't want this game, except that they still had a shot at the playoffs. Right. It's not like they had a shot at the first draft pick. They had a
right.
shot at the playoffs. So you would think that they were out there giving it their best, but it didn't look like it.
No, not at all. It's all but this game coming up, Eagles, and we're at home or we are over the
No, it was at Philly. It was at Philly.
right, we're in Philly.
I went to the game against Philly at home. That was the return of Saquon. I
Oh,
was at that
right,
game.
right.
Right. So now this one is at Philly, and Philly they have the same record as us, a 13-3.
Just
This,
transpose, right?
whatever. We're both 13-3.
That's all right. That's all right. We're gonna okay. What happens, what happens. That's all. We'll deal with the draft when it's time for the draft. That's all.
Yes, we're going to do a lot of digging into the draft in a week or two for the next several months. So yeah, we'll just get through this game. Just a quick rundown on some of the data I have for people who did not practice yet this week. For us, is Micah McFadden, Evan Neal, John Michael Schmitz, and the new defensive tackle Armon Watts haven't practiced this week. For them, it's a long list. Saquon, Mekhi Becton, A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson, even their backup quarterback, Kenny Pickett. So we might see Tanner McKee at quarterback.
Yeah, Pickett was hurt. Yeah, he got hurt in the last game.
Yeah, the guy from Stanford. Darius Slade, Devontae Smith, and Josh Sweat, all of them have not practiced this week and are, for their side, very likely to not play. For us, I would think that some of the people I mentioned are going to play. And they're limited participants in practice. Another long list: Zach Braun, Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, CJ GJ, their safety, Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, and Quinyon Mitchell, all limited practice participants. So they may or may not play. For us, it's Brian Burns, Corey Durden, Greg Stroman, and Ty Summers. So our list is much shorter. But again, I think we're looking at this week as we want to win.
Right.
And they're looking at this week as we just don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's oh man. And it's not football's not like say basketball now, like an NBA. You gotta have a good reason not to play. They can just
but also in the NBA, if you're not 100%, I don't want to besmirch the NBA. I mean, it's a very difficult sport. Don't get me wrong, but the risk of further injury is less in basketball
because
than it is in football.
Yeah.
If you get out there in football and you're not 100% and you're going out there like half cocked to try to just get through the game, that's how you get hurt.
Right.
Because
Right.
some people are flying around the field trying to take your head off. They're not trying to hear that, oh, well, look, he's not running as fast as maybe he's no. They're like, oh, he's not running as fast as I can catch him now. Let me body slam him. I've been meaning to do that for years.
True,
So yeah,
true.
if you're not 100% and you got a playoff game next week, I can definitely see you saying, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out because these boys are not playing.
Yeah, and we're playing guys are playing for jobs.
I
They,
guys are playing for jobs. Exactly
they,
right. With the Giants or somewhere else. They're trying
right.
to put good stuff on tape. So if somebody says, oh yeah, this is an NFL player, let's keep him.
Might get another W.
And like I said, we would fall to at least 7 and well, probably fall to at least 7. Again, listen, some of these other teams that are in the top 8 or so might also win, right? There's other teams that are resting people that some of those bad teams are playing
Right.
against as well. So, New England might beat Buffalo, for example. If Buffalo is resting Josh Allen and
Which
and
they
you know
should
a
be.
lot of their other starters, New England is trying their best to show their new quarterback, how to do this thing the right way. He's out there trying his best to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. So,
Right, right.
it wouldn't shock me if New England beats Buffalo without uh, Josh Allen playing, for
Can we
example.
is there a possibility that we can move back up, at least to maybe
Yeah,
third?
we can. We could theoretically move back up. I'm not saying we can move back up to 1. I mean, we could move back up to 1, but a lot of teams would have to win for that to happen. Like, for example, Cleveland almost certainly isn't going to win, and they are ahead of us. So that's the team that I think um, there's the least chance of them winning. Uh, who was it? Who is Cleveland playing? Oh yeah, they're playing the Ravens, and the Ravens, I believe, still need that game for playoff seeding.
Oh.
So I don't see that happening.
No.
Um,
No. No.
Carolina is playing Atlanta, who's still fighting for a playoff spot, and Michael Penix is trying to establish himself, so they're not going to be easing up off the gas pedal at all. So I don't see Carolina beating them. Tennessee is playing Houston, so Houston needs this game. I don't. I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but I would imagine that Houston, who needs this game, will beat Tennessee. And now the Jaguars do play the Colts, and we just beat the Colts, so obviously anybody can beat the Colts.
Right.
Right. So the Jaguars might beat the Colts. That's possible. But again, there's just the chances of us moving up, and the Raiders play the Chargers, and I believe the Chargers need this game. So I don't know that the Raiders are going to have. Although they've won 2 in a row, so who knows? They've won 2 in a row. Maybe they got it figured out now. Maybe they'll win again. But the odds are good that we're not going to move up far. Maybe we get back to 3. And frankly, it's not just where we are; it's who's ahead of us.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
And do those teams need a quarterback? And if they don't, are they willing to trade out? To move down a little bit and still get the guy they want.
Right. Right. So it'll be what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. How many draft picks don't work out? I mean, the Jets had the 2nd overall pick. They took Zach Wilson. How's that working out for them?
Right. Exactly.
And a few years before that, they had the 3rd overall pick and took Sam Darnold. How's that working out for them? Neither of them is on their team anymore.
It's all time. It's like what you have on your team already, and it's do you bring a rookie quarterback in without a line?
Right.
Or sometimes they bring them in and they have no receivers.
No weapons, right. But especially a line. If I was a rookie quarterback and I had a choice of good offensive line, bad weapons, or good weapons, bad offensive line, give me the good offensive line.
Right.
Because to me, there's no such thing as a bad wide receiver in the National Football League. Some of them are better than others, but there's no bad wide receivers in the National Football League. So if I've got 4 seconds to throw, somebody's going to get open. I will get him the ball if I can still stand up. It's when I'm running for my life every play. It doesn't matter who I'm throwing to. So that scares me.
You know what? Okay. Where do we stand? Like what about NFC East? Like our opponents are other in the standings. What are they doing this week?
So the NFC East report, which I usually do individually, but let's cut to that now. Let's add that in here since it's the last one of the year anyway.
Are we last?
Well, so we're playing Philly, right?
Right.
So we talked about that half of the division. The other half of the division plays against each other as well. Washington with their 11-5 record goes down to Dallas with their 7-9 record. So the Commanders are going to go visit the Cowboys in Week 18.
They want to win.
The Cowboys, they have no starters missing practice. Like they're either on IR or they're already playing. Like their injury list is very short. On the other side, Washington, Jonathan Allen, who just got off IR. Their center Tyler Biadasz, who is a former Cowboy. Wide receiver De'Ami Brown, tight end Zach Ertz, defensive end Cleveland Ferrell, outside linebacker Dante Fowler, new cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, tackle Cornelius Lucas, wide receiver Scary Terry McLaurin, and tackle Andrew Wiley are all on the did not practice list this week. So Washington is pretty banged up. So let's see how many of those people actually play.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that Washington would like to win this game. I honestly think that they still, I'm pretty sure
they
still
need
have
something though.
This game, they're going to be in the playoffs, but where they are in the playoffs is based on the results of this game. So I think they could either be the 6th or the 7th seed, depending on the outcome of this game. So they need this game. So they're going to want those guys to get healthy. And they're going to try and play. They come into the game 5th in the league in scoring, Washington, averaging just about 29 points a game, and 19th in the league in points allowed, giving up 23 points a game. Right. Dallas comes to the game 21st in the league in scoring. They're scoring 20.7 points a game, and they're 31st. They're not last anymore. They're next to last in points allowed, 27.8 points a game. So, again, this is a game that on paper Washington should win. But with that many people injured, if several of them don't play, who knows? Although their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, is looking like money. So
yeah, he does.
Maybe he'll carry them anyway.
He looks like he's definitely rookie of the year candidate.
Right, which is, again, further evidence that you need the quarterback.
Right.
And I know, listen, we may wind up with the 5th or 6th pick. It doesn't mean that we have to necessarily take the quarterback in the first round. Like Dak Prescott wasn't a first round pick, and he turned out pretty well for them. So, but you have to get the guy right now. If we go into next year with Drew Lock and DeVito as our quarterbacks, that's not going to end well. We need to either sign someone or draft someone or both.
Right. I think the both is in there, or
both is likely. Both is a good idea.
Yeah.
Both
so we let the young guys sit down for a little bit and just.
And honestly, between Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito, we don't need both of them back. I think one of them as the QB3 is fine. We don't need both of them. That one of them coming back to be basically the practice squad guy that you elevate on game day as the emergency quarterback. Fine.
Clay, there's even talk of, I've heard it, there was talk of maybe bringing Russell Wilson over, and I don't want that. I don't want that problem.
I don't think I don't think Pittsburgh's going to let him out the door. But Justin Fields is the one that Pittsburgh might let go. That I've heard some people say, "Oh, why don't the Giants get Justin Fields?" Or why don't we get Carson Wentz? Or I'm like, stop it. No, those are not the answer. Those are not the answer. Jimmy G to me is like he's been to a Super Bowl, right? Like this is somebody who has shown that he can win in this league. Maybe he's a little bit past his prime, and maybe he's not, the guy, but he's a solid guy. Who I would say Jimmy G somewhat reminds me of when we got Tyrod Taylor. Jimmy G is much more accomplished than Tyrod Taylor overall, right. But Tyrod Taylor took Buffalo to the playoffs. Like he's not had a bad career.
No, yes.
He's been injured a lot, so he can't seem to finish the season. But he's had some success in this league. So if you can get somebody like that, Jimmy G, Tyrod Taylor, somebody like that who's won his share of games, to show this rookie quarterback how it's done and let him sit for 6 or 8 games, or maybe even the whole year. If Jimmy G is 10-7 next year for us, fine.
Right.
I don't see that, but if that's what happens, fine.
It's funny how that's how it used to be. Remember the quarterbacks used to sit. They used to just sit. They knew the first year they weren't getting in at all.
At least. Aaron Rodgers sat for several years.
Right. And then
Steve Young sat for several years.
And
it's not that unusual.
No, not at all. But now you got to come in and be ready to go, which doesn't happen all the time. Every now and then, like Jaden Daniels, but.
Right. CJ Stroud. Yeah, you get, but for every CJ Stroud, right, there's a Bryce Young.
Wow.
Who maybe needed to sit. Or an Anthony Richardson. who maybe needed to sit.
Yeah, he actually needed to
Trey
stay in
Lance
school.
was the third overall pick. Trey Lance, who is now the third stringer on Dallas. He's not even the backup on Dallas.
True, true. Wow. NFC East. Woof.
Yeah, so oh, speaking of thank you. So the NFC East report. So I don't want to give a new trivia question, because this is the last week of the regular season. But I will say that I did give a question last week. And the question was, which New York Giant had the most career tackles while playing for the Giants? That was last week's trivia question. And do you want to take a guess at it? Do you think
Yeah,
you
the
know who
most
that is?
tackles
Most tackles by a Giant, while a Giant.
while a Giant.
Right.
Um, George Martin.
That's not a bad guess,
Oh,
but it is
Mendenhall.
not a lineman. It is
It's not Lyman?
nope.
Oh, wait. Well, it's not going to be Spider Lockhart, isn't
No, no, no.
it?
If it was Spider, I would have definitely asked it. You're right,
Yeah.
but it wasn't
Okay, hold
Spider.
on.
But you're close in a sense. Positionally, you're close.
Oh, then it took away that guy I was going to say. Because I was going to say reasons I was going to say.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
it's not Banks, it's not Reasons. So who is? Gosh, I can't. No, if it's not Lockhart, who? It's I can't. It cannot be a back. It cannot. It cannot.
Yes.
Give me a letter.
Is a defensive back. First name starts with A.
uh, um, no, he wasn't with the Giants long enough. He was only there for.
It might be. Take a guess.
No, I was gonna say no. I was gonna say Antonio or something like that, but it's not.
Oh, Antonio Pierce. Yeah, he's actually second.
He can't.
He's the
Oh my
middle
God.
linebacker. The guy who's the coach of the Raiders now.
Yeah,
He's second.
I can't. I don't know. I can't get it. I can't.
Antrell Roll.
No way. No way.
Antrell Roll, who wasn't here that long,
Right.
but made a lot of tackles for a few years. And so part of it is that the seasons are longer now, right? So some of the guys back in the day, like the Sam Huffs of the world, were playing in 12-game seasons.
Right.
So, there just weren't as many games to make as many tackles. Plus, back then, I don't think they were counting tackles individually. So we don't know how many tackles he made. But since they've been starting to count tackles, and again, we've had 16 and 17 game seasons, some even with the Saquon record, I was like, you know what? If it's going to take him 17 games, maybe there should be an asterisk next to this anyway.
You actually should though, because even who was he breaking records?
OJ.
Because OJ's got the real record.
OJ did it in 14 games.
Right. He's got the real record. I've always believed that, it's what you had up until that point. And that's where the record, that's where the record stops.
Everything else should be there should be acknowledgement that there's 2 records and now 3 records, right?
Right.
There's the 14-game record, there's the 16-game record, and the 17-game record.
No, that's what I believe. That's totally what I believe. That's like, and I'm gonna go here for just a second, but that's like in basketball. Kareem was leading the scoring, but didn't have the 3-point line like they do now.
Didn't have 3-point line.
So show me how many 2-point field goals you got.
Right. Take away your threes and let's see how many points you got.
Right. So I'm like, come on. But Antrell
Roll,
I can't believe Antrell Roll is because he wasn't with us a long time.
No.
But what that tells me is that our defensive line was getting beat to the ground.
No, well, but also in fairness, the defensive line doesn't always make a lot of tackles. They gobble up the blockers so the linebackers can make the tackles. I mean, they make some tackles, but usually your team's leading tackler is an inside linebacker.
Right.
Maybe a safety, but if it's a safety, that's probably not a good sign. Right?
Wow.
That strong safety is coming up into the box and trying to help out in the run game, sure, but somebody needs to be back keeping them from the long pass.
Right.
And so you don't really want too many safeties leading the team in tackles. In any event, Antrell Roll.
Wow. That was a good one.
That was the last trivia question for the year. We'll come back to that next season. for the NFC East report in week 1 of 2025 season.
That was good.
But I just wanted to end the season with that answerable answer. And listen, we have a lot to look forward to in this offseason. No matter where we're going to pick, there's a lot to look forward to. We're going to be doing a lot of research into the free agents.
Yeah.
Right. Who can the Giants sign? I've already mentioned a couple people I got my eye on, but we'll come back to that later. And then the draft.
I want the line.
Senior Bowl, the combine, all that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talent out there, and it's like you said, we just need a couple, just some key guys. We're not far away from being like respectable, I can say.
Yes, we're not far from being respectable. We're pretty far from being contenders, but we're not far from being respectable.
Right. So,
right.
Because
and you can do that in an offseason, as several teams we just talked about have shown. Washington, Houston.
Yeah, you can do it. Definitely.
That made pretty quick turnarounds.
Man. Okay. So we got Drew Lock's going to start again this week, right? Drew Lock's going to start.
Yes.
He's playing for at least his NFL life right now. DeVito's not going to see the field unless if Lock stays healthy.
Right.
Our running backs they're playing for next year too, even though they're good. They're good. They're good.
They're not great, but they're good.
Right. They're good.
And I actually would like to see a little more out of Devin Singletary, to be honest. Do we want him to be the Robin to the Batman, so to speak, next year? Or are we going to go in a different direction altogether? I feel like we slept on him the last couple of weeks. He's a solid NFL running back.
Yeah, we could use one burner. We could use one burner back there.
Back in August, all I kept hearing about is we're not going to miss Saquon. We got Devin Singletary.
Right.
And now all of a sudden we can't get Devin Singletary a carry.
Right.
Now he's an afterthought. Did he get worse this year?
He just gave him Saquon's number. So,
did he get worse this year? Like, what happened to Devin Singletary?
Oh no!
I heard about him all summer. Right. The first 3 or 4 games of the year. Oh yeah, look, he's averaging more yards per carry than Saquon averaged last year. Okay, well then put him in the game.
Exactly. Just like Jalen Hyatt.
Jalen Hyatt needs some touches. Evan Neal needs to move into guard. Daniel Bellinger needs some catches. Like, there's a lot of things that I would love to see this week. Like, I hope Tate Banks doesn't play at all. Like, I've seen what I'm starting to like give up on him, to be honest. But nevertheless, I've seen what he is. Show me some more Cordell Flott. Show me some more, well, there's so many guys hurt now, so maybe he has to play. But there's other people who, Greg Stroman's of the world. Let's see what they can do. Dane Belton at safety. Since Tyler Newman's been hurt, he's been playing safety a lot. The ball finds him, right? I don't think he's that good at safety, but somehow once or twice a month, the ball winds up in Dane Belton's hands.
Right.
So if he gets 3 or 4 turnovers a year, maybe that justifies the 10 missed tackles that he had during the year.
Oh, I remember now. What the one thing I was going to say to you was the guy I don't want, and we mentioned this before, the guy I don't want the Giants to even look at. Beck has declared from Georgia. He declared for the draft, and they've got play. I read it today. I saw it on a couple of shows. They've got like scouts out there saying this kid needs to stay in school. I mean, multiple scouts are telling him stay in school. If you hear that, and he's hurt now, so he didn't play. That's why he didn't play in the ball game.
Right.
If I heard that, I'm going back to school.
I don't care if he goes to school or not. I don't want him.
No, exactly.
I'm not going to want him next year either. But yes, he should go back to school. He'll probably make more money from the NIL than he'd make in the NFL.
Right.
So, man, go ahead. Go back and make that NIL money while you can.
But I can just see Joe Shane looking, saying, you know what? We might be able to get this kid and work with him.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with him quarterback.
I told you who I'm looking at. If we miss out on Cam Ward, the next one for me, and I don't really want Shedeur because of the whole Deion thing. The next one for me is Kyle McCord, the Syracuse quarterback.
Yeah, he's good.
And I think he'll be there in the second round, maybe even the third round, but definitely the second round. I shouldn't say definitely, because quarterbacks go way higher than they should sometimes. But I can see him being there for the second round. So if we drop down to like 7 or 8 and have no shot at moving up, and Cam Ward is gone, take somebody who's an elite something else, and then get McCord in the second round. But we'll talk about this. We got plenty of time to talk about the draft. Plenty of time. Drafts not for several months.
I just remembered that, and I had to I just couldn't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do not want Carson Beck. I don't want.
Ooh.
There's several people I don't want. I don't want Quinn Ewers. I don't want Dylan Gabriel. There's a lot of people who I'm sure are going to get drafted. I just hope it's not by us.
Exactly.
Anyway, listen, this is the last one for the regular season. We're coming off a W.
A W, baby.
We have a reasonable chance at another W. Good times.
You gotta and root for our guys, and hey, while you're rooting, I want you to do one thing, y'all. Everyone's listening. We definitely always want you to like and subscribe and share this, but we want you to leave a comment. Tell us, let us know how we've done, this season. Not just how the Giants, how we've done, and what maybe some things that you might want to see from us in the future.
Absolutely.
We're open to your comments. Just take a moment, tap on the keyboard, boom, send it to us. We'll get back to you. We'll definitely get back to you.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. As always, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas.
It's your man Mazo. It's all about Big Blue.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you spending time with us. Until next time, as always,
peace.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.